Hey everyone, welcome back. Now, this whole series is known as Demystifying Coaching. I want to kind of demystify a lot of myths, a lot of ideas behind coaching and what is and what it isn't. And in this series, we're going to explore the ICF PCC markers, which I think it's going to be very, very helpful for you who are exploring what it means to be a coach. And also, if you are thinking about becoming a professional coach and using this even in your own organization. Now, regardless whether you're an ACC, PCC, or MCC, or even going beyond that, I believe that revisiting some of these markers are so critical for your learning. Now, in my previous videos and in my previous classes, I've shared the difference between the markers, understanding the competencies, so I won't belabor that any further. Now, if you're thinking about becoming a professional coach, I welcome you to join in one of my classes. And also, if you're thinking about inviting a coach to be your personal coach to help you brave your story, brave your voice, brave your leadership, look no further. And I'll encourage you to sign up and register today for your own brave coaching experience with me. Now, let's dive in. This topic here I'm going to share with you, it's broken out in a few parts because I think that ICF PCC competency or the marker 7.2 and 7.3 are so interconnected that I can't really separate them to create a very, very clear distinction. But I will go and do that for you and help you see the difference between 7.2 and 7.3, but yet giving you a framework and a concept and methodology to think about as you are evoking awareness, as you are asking questions, what it means to demonstrate a particular competency. Now, remember, different contexts, different clients will present different issues, and as such, the nuance and artistry of coaching conversation comes in. So many people think that it's just about asking that question. It's not. Coaching is not about asking questions alone. It's about thinking about your response. What's happening in the moment? What is the client saying? Understanding the worlds within worlds. So I call this concept, or this coaching concept, world within worlds, WWW, right? The wonder of the world. So this concept helped many coaches down through the years, helping them to gain deeper understandings and insights into the client's map of the world. Many times, many leaders or even coaches as well, they ask me, Jedi, how do I understand my client? Because it seems that the way that they are seeing the world and the way I'm communicating, it seems to create a lot of misunderstanding. And leaders have come to me and said, Jedi, how do I reduce conflict management at work? Well, the first thing to understand is world within worlds. And I've used this concept to teach leaders organizational change, even strategic thinking as well, through this concept of world within worlds. Now, why is this so critical for you to understand the ICF PCC markers for 7.2 and 7.3? Because if you can understand this concept, you begin to embody a deeper sense of understanding when we are applying the different techniques later on, which I'm going to share with you, about how to create a distinction between 7.2 and 7.3, and yet allowing it to create a natural flow of conversation. Now, remember, coaching is not memorizing sets of concepts, tools, techniques, frameworks. It's beyond that. It's about creating a very, very clean languaging, naturalistic conversation, but yet the artistry of the coach or the mastery of the coach is enabling and bringing in the pieces of tools and techniques that will serve the purpose of the conversation. Now, remember, as a coach, one of the things I see a common mistake many coaches do, it's that they love to show off a lot of different techniques that they've learned. But it's more important to show up than to show off in the conversation. So I titled this World Within Worlds, exploring the interplay of self and situation in coaching. Demystifying the ICF PCC markers 7.2 and 7.3. There are two key components here that we're going to look at: self and situation, the what and the who. Self and situation, the what and the who. So I want to start with this little image here for you to begin to see and explore. When we think about the world within worlds, every one of us, regardless whether we're more logically inclined, we're more emotionally inclined, we're more creatively inclined, we have different worlds within us. The world by which we see, the world by which we experience, the world by which we feel. These different layers of worlds allow us to see that, hey, we are very, very, very complex beings. Because within our own world, we have these different layers that we are trying to explore, trying to express. And so this idea of world within worlds allow us to go deeper, to understand why are there sometimes inner conflicts, which manifest sometimes as external conflicts. And that's why one of the common questions many leaders ask me is that, Jedi, how do I address conflict management in my teams, in my organization? Well, begin first understanding world within worlds. Now, when you see this image, you see two different worlds. One, it's the underneath world, and one is the above. And if you flip it on the other side, you can see it's a reverse image. That as you go deeper, you begin to go above. As you go above, you begin to go deeper. And it kind of reminds me of a movie that I kind of watched recently on Godzilla and Kong. And it's really beautifully captured, where the travelers were traveling through Earth and Hollow Earth and the subterranean Earth. It seems like it's an inverse. So when we say we're going deeper, it's not like going deeper, but it's going within. When we say we're going up, and sometimes that inverse happens as well. So the world within worlds, it's that in each and every one of us, we have different layers of us. One, it's how we show up in this world. Another, it's who we are on the inside. And sometimes who we are on the inside, it's harder to express. We find it a journey to discover who we are. And that's why sometimes we go on this journey known as the Ikigai journey, which I cover in some of my programs as well. Like, how do I find my Ikigai? In fact, one of my learners, they enjoy this idea of Ikigai so much that we begin on this journey together. Because Ikigai, it's not a concept, it's not a Venn diagram, it's an experience, a life journey experience where you begin to walk steps and journeys and take conscious effort of reflection and going deeper within yourself. So the world within worlds give you an idea that there are different layers, there are different depths. The inverse and the polarizing effects, the light, the dark, every single thing makes our world. And when we see the world as it is, we have to recognize that the other party or the clients or the teams, they also have their own map of the world. The way they see the world, the way they perceive the world, the way they interpret the world. And so sometimes people have asked me, say, Jedi, my questions or my reflection or my statements or my conversation sounds logical, sounds very, very systematic. But why is it that my parties, my team members don't seem to understand? Now, a very simple explanation is this, because what seems logical to you, what seems systematic to you, what seems clear to you when it's interpreted by the other party might not be as such. We have to understand that each and every one of us have a different learning style. And so it's important for us to go deeper within ourselves and understand the various styles that we have. And it's okay to have different styles. It's okay to know that different styles matter. And it doesn't matter which styles you embody, but what matters is that you recognize that it's important that we respect and honor each and every one of this map of the world. That's the first step. Okay. Don't bring in our biases and judgment immediately. Put that aside. Just experience the client's world as it is. I always love to experience the person's world as it is. Even if we have our own ideas and thoughts, keep it clean, keep it very, very neat. And so that's the world within worlds. Now, the world within world is this coaching concept that I kind of developed over a period of time. And I teach this over a series of months and years as a very, very deep mastery program for leaders and coaches as well. But I give you a brief understanding of it. It's a concept that's designed to explore the nuanced interplay between the individual's individual experiences, the world within, and their external realities, the worlds without. So this interplay within the worlds within and the worlds without, that is the interplay that we want to explore. The realities within, realities without. Now, this approach recognizes that every individual navigates the multiple layers of reality, personal beliefs, emotions, and values influenced by the interacting and external conditions like social environments, cultural expectations, and professional challenges. So now there's another different layer, how all this are working together in harmony, interplay across all these external conditions. And when someone asks me, so how do I visualize this in a simple manner? So I've kind of created this in a very, very simple illustration, but by no means that this is the way it is. Okay. This illustration helps you to kind of get an idea of what these different layers are and the interplay within them. But beyond that, I want you to always keep an open mind, an open frame. That this doesn't mean that this is reality for everyone. Like I mentioned earlier, world within worlds, it's the interplay between the individual's world within and their experiences without, which is the external realities. So let's take a look at this visualization. There are three key layers here that I explore. The first layer is the external layer, internal layer, and a deeper layer. I call it the what, the why, and who. So for learners out there who've attended my co-creative coaching, I encourage you to come and join in one of my programs, because this is where I go deeper in explaining the what, the why, and the who. And you realize that there's this layer in the external factor that we can see. What we can see, what we can observe, the behaviors, the manifestation of evidence, these are the what reality, the external realities. What we can't see, it's within. For example, if I want to see your values, it's very hard for me to see, oh, that's the value, that's the value. No, but I can interpret your values by your very decisions, by your very behaviors. That's evidence. So the deeper core within us are the who. So the who is made up of various characteristics of your personality, your values, your beliefs, your own traditions, your culture. It's this richness within. Now, often I would say that the who, it's almost indescribable, because every human being, it's complex. And this harmony of interconnectedness, right, of value systems, of beliefs, it's so intertwined within us, and that forms the core of us. And sometimes a good way to kind of understand this is to explore a little bit about what the who really is. And I have a whole series of videos on that. And in fact, when I do brave coaching with my clients, I bring them through an experience of the who. So if you want to find out and experience that for yourself, I encourage you to kind of sign up to one of my coaching experiences on the who, as we explore deeper within yourself. Now, if you notice, there's a second layer in between the what and the who, and I call that the why. What is the why? The why, I could say very much as the conduit, or that thing that connects to what and the who. So you can think about why as that driving force, the motivating effect, the compunction, the compelling force that's moving a certain decision, that's moving a certain behavior towards a certain outcome. So the what, the why, the who. These three layers form a very, very important component of helping you understand deeply what are the worlds within the world. Now, what are the characteristics of this world? Well, for one, there are different characteristics that I'd like to explore with you. The first, it's multi-dimensional awareness. It allows the other party, which is the client or the team or the leaders, to gain deeper awareness about a whole range of items. Now, many times, leaders or clients, they're aware of only what they want to be aware of. They're not able to see perspectives beyond that. So by understanding the world of worlds, I'm helping them to see, hey, there are different layers of awareness. And it's important and critical to understand those different layers. Next, how all these different worlds are interconnected. Because our lives, our situations, our environment are not isolated in isolation, but they are interconnected. So exploring this interconnectivity of the what, the why, the who, the situation. And thirdly, being able to be adaptive and flexible. Because as a coach, if I am forcing the client through a process, a step, a certain model, a certain framework, I'm not adaptable. I'm not adapting to the client's learning styles and needs. So that's why I always say coaching should not be a model base. Many clients, in fact, many organizations and top leaders and C-suite executives, the first thing they'll ask me is, Jedi, what model are you using? I begin by explaining to them, we do not begin coaching with a model. Especially many organizations, when they begin coaching with a model, no wonder coaching fails. No wonder the experience of coaching, it's not where it could be. They experience and taste only a very, very fundamental, rudimentary experience of what coaching really is. Because coaching, it's not from a basis of models or frameworks or steps, not different acronyms. Coaching must begin from a place of co-creation. An approach of co-creation, an approach of adaptability, agility, and flexibility. That's critical. The mindset of coaching is this. I'm not trying to force a model on you. I'm not trying to force steps on you, but I'm partnering you in a co-creative manner. Next, through the process of exploring the world within world, reflective inquiry is so critical. For you to pause, reflect. This reflection allows an individual moments and time to just quieten down the noise within. Pull in, dive in, and explore, and go deeper. I have a whole video series on reflective inquiry. I encourage you to watch that as well. Okay, so I'll not explain too much about that. Next, cultural and contextual sensitivity. This is such a critical element. All of us are from different cultures and subcultures. And cultures are not by definition race alone. It could be geography, it could be history, it could be generational attitudes, it could be your own customs and traditions, your own richness of your family history, a lot of different things made up your culture. And this contextual sensitivity as well, it's very, very important for the coach and client's relationship. Because sometimes some coaches, because of their experience in coaching, they may have this precondition or assumption, presupposition. I know you. I've experienced that before. I've 20, 30, 40, 50 years of experience. I want you to put that aside. Enter a coaching conversation cleanly, plainly, as if you have zero experience with unconditional positive regard for the client. That's important. Next, bringing in this transformational potential. Remember, coaching conversation, it's transformative. What do we mean by that? It's not about forcing, it's not about pushing an agenda, but it's about partnering, allowing the transformation to happen from within rather than from outside. When we say transactional, we wanting to see change happen, change of behavior, change this, change that. Transformation is when we see change happening first on the inside and it manifests on the outside. So too often, many leaders, they tell me, Jedi, after attending your course, after attending your coaching, after attending your training, what can we see? What can we measure? I said, be patient. Because true change is not external validation. It's not external things that changes. That will happen. But true change happens first within. The mindset, the heart, the spirit of change must first happen for sustained change to exist. For sustained habit changes, I need to first change the inside before it changes on the outside. I can force a team to change their behavior, give them carrots and sticks, give them this, more push them in a certain way. But that is not sustainable. True sustaining change is from inside. And that's why I love to take clients through a multi-year journey in their coaching experience, communicating with them, allowing them to go deeper. Next, this idea of empowerment agency. What is this word agency? This word agency, it's allowing you to recognize who is responsible. Who is responsible? The client is responsible for their lives themselves. The ownership lies in the client, helping the client to realize that it's not about the resources, the lack of or sufficiency of resources, but it's about the resourcefulness. The resourcefulness is critical in the whole process. So empowering them to see that, hey, they have agency, they have the resources within, they have the resourcefulness. Now, that's not airy and fairy talk, but that is allowing them to see, hey, what can I do creatively with what I have, with the limited resources, time, energy, effort, but yet creating the maximum impact and results that I desire. And finally, integrative co-creative conversational techniques. Bringing all the techniques that I've learned before. As a coach, as a leader, as a communicator, you have learned many different techniques down the years. But one of the big flaws in learning so many techniques is that many of these techniques are marketed to HR professionals, and they say this is a wonderful technique, that is a new and improved technique. So many HR practitioners, leaders, and coaches, they chase after techniques. But I want to share with you, it's not about chasing new techniques, more transformative techniques. It's about integrating them in a co-creative manner, which means I need to figure out what matters to the client. In fact, the most simplest of techniques I find often that we lack, it's the technique of being able to pause, give space, no judgment. And that is something so critical, especially when we're exploring the world within worlds. So for us to understand what it means to know this whole different process of world within worlds, it's first to realize all these different characteristics that we just mentioned. And recognizing this, that the awareness of the worlds between the what and the who will allow you to go deeper and evoke awareness with the client. And that's why I start with this premise. Before watching the other series of videos and before attending the classes, I encourage you to watch this video first, because you need to first capture and understand this approach of the awareness of world within worlds before learning about what competency marker 7.2, 7.3 really is. Because too often coaches want to use and do, but they don't understand the spirit and the approach and the rationale and the reasoning and the meaning behind that. And so it's really important for you to capture and understand this first. The mindset change must happen first before you use a technique. Using the technique poorly without understanding the reason, the purpose, the why will lead to a force or lead to a undesirable result in consequence of it. So I want to leave you with this. First, awareness is not forced upon the client, not forced upon a team, but awareness must be evoked through a partnership or a co-creative process. And helping them to see the world within worlds, just like this image here. I create an image of the light, the dark, exploring the worlds within, the worlds without, and helping you to see the contrast between the what, which is the actions, the behaviors, and manifestations of what we do, and the who, which is the person. So the what is the issues, the situation that's at hand, the challenges at hand, and the who, it's the deeper person themselves. So in the next series of videos, we're going to explore a little bit deeper about what this means and how you can practically apply the competencies. Now, if you like this video, I want you to give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I want you to share some of the questions and thoughts you have in the comment section below. And I want to encourage you, if you have not attended any programs before with me, come and join me in one of my programs. I will leave my email, my website link down in the description below, and I look forward to seeing you in one of my Brave coaching sessions.